Welcome to the Sports Betting Podcast from pregame.com for November 19th, 2009, or the week of November 19th, 2009. I'm your host, RJ Bell. I'm joined by Marco D'Angelo, 30 years in the business, Vegas runner, genuine professional bettor here in Vegas. This is segment 3 of 6, big game preview. In the Pac-10, we have Oregon and Arizona. First up, Vegas runner, what's the line on this game?
All right, Oregon opened up as a 5-point road favorite with a total of 57. As of this morning, Oregon's now -6, and the total's up to 60. So money's coming in on the favorite and the over for sure. But money on the favorite early could mean wise guys looking to buy back a little later in the week.
And this is something we talk about a good bit, and you're an expert on, is reading the market. And usually, if the favorite has a move, it's one of two things. Is the wise guys really like it, or they're looking to buy back later and they want to start the momentum that way.
And this will not qualify as true steam at all.
All right. And typically if it's a move to the dog, it's usually a genuine position because the public is it's going to be unusual for the public to bet the dog.
Absolutely.
Okay. Marco, as a handicapper, now VR, you've got your official free pick this week on this game.
This is the game that I'm giving the pick. Put the streak on the line.
You got a good streak. We were all 3-0 last week combined, so we'll get back to you. But first up, Marco, what's the key factor from a handicapping perspective?
When I broke the game down, looking at the Arizona games that they've played, I think they're an undervalued commodity, that they're flying under the radar. You got Oregon, you got Stanford, and you did have Southern Cal till they've puked themselves all over the place the last couple weeks. But this Arizona team's been in all of their games this year. Their last 3 losses, they've lost by an average of 7 points or less in each of the games. Last week's game, very misleading game against California. The final margin of 8 points. Cal scored a late touchdown in that game in the final 2 minutes to get that final margin.
All right, so your first impression as a handicapper, we have an underrated Arizona team.
Yes.
Now, before you go into your pick spiel, you had you had Cal last week.
Yes, I did.
So, as you looked at that game, do you agree with Marco? Was it a misleading final? Or
I think they got beat in the one area they haven't been beat in all season, and that's the reason I am going to back this team this week.
All right, so give us your pick.
The reason and the biggest factor for me is this team is great against the run.
We're talking about Arizona?
Arizona. Right. Prior to letting Cal run all over them, the reason they lost that game, they only allowed 65 yards and 59 yards rush in the prior 2 games, both of them at home, and this team's 5-0 at home, so they play extremely well at their stadium. And when you look at this Oregon team, they're strictly running. That's all they do. They're 100th in NCAA in passing, and they come in 7th rushing. So having a team like Arizona who's good against the run, that got run over last week, I think we're looking at a motivated defensive team that knows they're going to be called out, to have to step up to stop the run. They showed me all season they're capable of doing that. I think they do it again this week. I love Arizona plus the points.
Arizona plus the points.
I agree with the Arizona play, and to elaborate on me thinking that the score was misleading, I had California last week also. So for me to say that it was misleading when I had the winning side, Arizona.
But it's very important, to be honest.
Yeah, you have to
as
go
a
back to the box
handicapper.
score.
The worst kind of poker player, and Marco's a great handicapper and an average poker player. He always says, "Oh, I got such bad breaks. I should have had this." And it's like at some point you want to hear him say,
right.
"Yeah, you want to hear him say, man, I got so lucky." Yeah, it's only the one-outers. Maybe you'll hear that. But as a handicapper, it's very important to be honest when you do a good handicap and when you do a bad one. So, but go ahead.
Cal was outgained in that game last week, 357 to 274. So I think we got a value with Arizona this week. The stock on Oregon is as high as it's been all year. Everybody, loves Oregon. They had the misstep against Stanford, but it was
excusable. Back well against ASU.
But does it concern you guys that we have a team, Oregon, with 2 losses, and Boise was 1 on the road? Boise at home is tough.
It's a tough place to win.
And now the Stanford team, it looks like
they're
now
rolling.
with a little bit of perspective, the Oregon losing against them is not shameful in any way.
Not at all.
Do you, as much as you think there's value in Arizona, is Oregon underrated or overrated?
Oregon, I think, my opinion, they're where they should be at this point.
They're properly rated right now.
They're probably rated right.
I think that the betting public, the AP USA Today has it right. I think the odds maker has it wrong. He's got Oregon up at number 5 in the country.
So right now, today,
he's got them Vegas 5th in the country as of this morning. Las Vegas has them. Oregon 5th best team in the country, while the AP and USA Today have them at 11th. And usually I agree with the odds makers, but I said it with Oklahoma. I thought he was wrong when they had him up at number 4, and they already had 3 losses. And I think they're wrong here with Oregon. Oregon needs 2 wins to win the Pac-10. Arizona's already bowl eligible at 6-3. The pressure's off this team, and now they could play spoiler and ruin it for them. I think there's a lot of incentives.
But in both cases, we have max motivation.
Max, sure. Oregon needs to win the title, so yeah, absolutely.
One final note on Oregon: as potent as that offense is, they're averaging 103 yards less per game on the road.
Yeah, they're 2-2 on the road. They're a 500 team, and you know how tough it is to win in Oregon. That's a huge home edge.
So we have a fundamental handicap, which is a great rush D against a rush offense. You're taking the home dog.
Absolutely.
All right, now, you've been really hot in college, though you lost your biggest game of the year.
The biggest one.
So what's your college record at this point?
11-1 the last 2 weeks.
And you lost your game of the year.
Lost the big one, man.
Now, these guys, both Marco and VR, did another video in which they talk about money management and not overdoing it on any one game, and you talk about losing that game, and we're not going to hide from that.
No excuses. No, not at all.
So you can go to pregame.tv and check that out.
It's called This Week in Vegas.
This Week in Vegas. And you've got I lost my train of thought. I was thinking of all the different cool things you're doing. Well, no, you got a good weekend coming up, but you actually have a situation where you're doing a Steam blog where you talk about opening numbers and the line moves and what's your streak.
Oh, that's on fire! 11-3 the last 3 weeks.
And that's been all free so far.
All free, and for the season, it's hitting at 70%.
All right, so you give how many games a week?
4 to 5 games.
4 to 5 games. You say this is what the wise guys are on.
This is true Steam.
And this is them taking a position.
Absolutely.
And great record there. Now you started something else on Thursdays, which is called line move predictions.
Yeah,
explain a little bit about that.
You actually brought me the idea and said, dude, if you could help people to get the best number, I think their win percentage is going to increase for guys getting from other handicappers as well, not just my clients, but everyone's clients.
So the question is, do you want to bet early or do you want to bet late? And if you somehow can know a majority of the time which way the line's moving, you can know when to bet.
Exactly.
And if you can't bet early and you're not playing online, you're making a mistake.
Sure.
Probably go to pregameaction.com. You can check the best deals for online books, which allows you to bet Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday if you like a game for Saturday.
And now, you said you're like, if you could help 6 out of 10, if you could get 60% accuracy, and you remember you asked me, can you think you could do it? I said, yeah, I think I can. Let's do it. Let's put it out there.
So you give like 15 games a week and make a line prediction between Thursday and Saturday how it's going to move.
Yeah.
And you're like 24-5?
Yeah, right around
so like
there.
29, and don't quote me on the exact.
No, it's right around
30
there.
games, there's been like 5 of them right. Wrong. So you would have gotten the better number, 24 or 25 out of 30 by following your advice.
Yeah, and even the ones that didn't really move against us.
And that's free too.
Absolutely.
Pregame.com and the blogs.
Thursday.
Now, this game, -6 right now, any line move prediction, are they play it now or wait?
I think if it gets to 7, the wise guys are going to grab it. The public's going to keep betting Oregon, and they're going to tease Oregon. They're going to be all over Oregon.
So bet now or wait?
Wait.
And you think you get a little bit better?
I think you should be able to get at least 6.5 by waiting, and every half point counts.
All right, good stuff. Next up, we have our 4th of 6 segments, another big game preview, this time in the NFL, and we're going to be previewing Indianapolis at Baltimore. Remember, you can get all of our videos at pregame.tv, or if you want to download and listen, just go to iTunes and search for pregame.com.